welcome along. Just letting the audience build up a bit on this late Friday evening. Of course, I thought I'd have this out a lot earlier, but circumstances. But hopefully in the next few weeks now we're gonna get set up properly. We'll have a little studio, and you get to not only hear our voices but see our faces. We're just gonna preview Leopardstown day one of Champions Weekends. We're gonna preview the Cora, which will be day two of Champions Weekends tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to kick off. We're going to touch on every race. There's two races I don't have real keen opinions on. If anyone wants to jump on, speak or whatever, just jump in to send a request there, and we'll fire you on as well. So yeah, let's kick on with the first race of the day. It's the 145, the Ballylynch Studs Irish EBF listed stakes. It's over 7 furlongs. For 2-year-olds, 10 runners line up here. Top of the market, we have an interesting runner with Content for Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, who went to Royal Ascot after finishing third on debut and then was drawn the wrong side of the track, but came home then and won very well in the maiden here. But the one that interests me is Jesse Harrington trained See the Boss. I was at Tipperary. It was only last Sunday. This filly by See the Moon made her debut. It's interesting that Jessie was actually there on the day. Of course, great to see Jessie back on the tracks, and it was her first time visiting Tipperary in a while. And she was there to see her make her debut. I was talking to a few of the lads from the yard, and they were very sweet on her, and she duly obliged. First time out, beating a couple that had ran a few times with good form. She was very impressive that day, and the fact that she comes out here very quickly. In Jessie's interview after, she was thinking that she mightn't run her until I think there's a big sales race in Naas in October. But the fact that she comes out here, obviously, we see a good opportunity to get a bit of black type. So the money's pouring in as well. It's gone into 5-1 from 7-1. So for me, I'm willing to take a chance here. Just with the quick reappearance is the only thing, but that for me could be a positive when Jesse brings him back that quick. So See the Boss for me each way in the first race to get us off to a winning start. Then we're going to kick off to the KPMG Champions Juvenile Stakes, a Group 2 over a mile. We have 8 runners lined up here. One favourite here, and the one they all have to beat is Diego Velasquez, a son of Frankel. This lad made his debut in the Curragh, and he was a talking horse. He is a brother. He's a half brother to Broome and Point Lonsdale. We've all seen what they've went on to do. Cost a pretty penny, I think 3.2 million or something as a yearling. So yeah, 4-6, very very impressive on debut. He was too. Big raw horse, took a while to pull up as well, and he won by nearly 5 lengths. So for me, I'm not going to spend too much on it here. I think if this lad steps up at all, they all have to beat him. Joseph Bryan's runner though, Atlantic Coast, I was very impressed with this son of Kodiak when he made his debut above in the Curragh as well, over 7. Won very impressively that day by 3 1/4 to a runner of Jorkins and a runner of King Condens, who's gone on to be placed in a couple of maidens. And the fourth horse was actually second the other day, looked all over winner Settlement for Dermot Weld. So for me, but look, they all I think will, if this lad steps up at all, he's going to take the beating here. He's got the pedigree. He looked on debut like he was going to relish the conditions and love his racing. So for me, I think he'll be the one they all have to crack here. Moving on, then we've got the first Group 1 of the weekend. It's the Coolmore America Justify Matron Stakes. Of course, this is for the ladies over a mile. Very deep race. 13 runners line up here. Favourite is Tanera, second in the English 1,000 guineas, and then came on and won the 1,000 guineas and backed it up as well when going over the Royal Ascot. And yeah, she won the Coronation Stakes, beating Rafe Beckett's Miracle by a length. She's the one they all have to beat. Interesting that we haven't seen her. Maybe there hasn't been a race for her. I don't think really in the calendar is probably mapped out this way. Probably trying to campaign her the back end of the season. And who knows, she might end up in America for the end of the year. Last year's 1,000 Irish 1,000 winner from the same yard runs home the song. So she Murphy comes over to take the ride. And Just Beautiful, who was impressive the last day as well for Paddy Toomey and Billy Lee. But I'm going to go for one here, I think, at a price each way. Zarinska for Jorline's Colin Keane. Very impressed with this Filly's last 3 runs, and I just think she could be the one there, a bit of a price each way. So for me, I'm going to go for Zarinska each way in the Matreon. Then we're going to kick on to the feature of the day and the feature of the weekend. It is the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes, Group 1, over a mile 2, won by some of the greats down through the years, of course. Dylan Thomas for me sticks out. High Chaparral, Fantastic Light, Giants Cause, Delamy, Magical 2-time winner. This is some race. It's probably one of the best Group 1s in Europe. Definitely, in my eyes, one of, if not the best race in Ireland of the year. 9 runners we have. Well, we've one runner now. Al Rifa doesn't run, but we had 9. We've 8 running. It's still a deep race. Look, the talking horse here is going to be Augusta Rodan. Of course, bounced back from his Guineas run to win the Derby, and then bounced back and won the Irish Derby. Thought he had a bit of a hard race that day. And then, of course, blew out in Ascot there in the King George. But look, Aidan O'Brien, he is some man to get these horses back. And money's starting to come in again. He was touching 4s during the week, 11-4 now. King of Steel, who he ran down in the Derby. For me, I just think if Augusta Rodan comes back to the form of the Derby, I was actually down in Kinsale for Derby Day. My good friend Ben was home, and I was sitting inside watching the race with his father Dane, and he was like, "Well, we have a bet in the Derby," and he goes, "What do you think of in the Derby now? We're going off chart a bit here," and I just goes, if this lad comes back to form, he's the only one quality enough to win a Derby, I think, and he was, and he ran him down. Nothing taking away nothing from the rest of them or King of Steel, but I just think if this lad comes back to form with the 3-year-old running allowance, he's the one they will all have to beat here. So for me, look, I would wait, see the preliminaries. If he's cool, calm, relaxed, and goes down, he's still going to be about that price, or 3-1 maybe on the day. I'd wait till then, but if he's cool and calm, definitely for me, Augusta Rodan, they'll all be chasing home. I'd be actually very sweet on him. If he bounces out and shows what he can do, I think he's a good thing here. The interesting runner is the French runner that Frankie comes over to ride on the ESTA. Hasn't won in a while, but has some very good runs on his card, and the French like to come over and use this as kind of a stepping stone. Not a stepping stone. They come over and run very well, aiming for the arc, and I think this lad could be the one, son of Frankel, that could be a little bit under the radar here, just because he hasn't got a load of ones to beside his names. But yeah, look, it's going to be boring, but I'm going to go with Augusta Rodan here in the feature race of the weekend. Then we're going to go to the Dullingham Park Stakes Group 2 over a mile. We've 12 runners lining up here, and I like one here at a price 16-1. This is actually a very interesting race when you look at it. It's it's a Group 2, but it's deep. I think it's deep anyway. There's a lot of puzzles to be put together, but for me, I like one here at a bit of a price down the bottom. 3-year-old Tanara. She was, I thought she ran a cracker on her season reappearance on soft to heavy ground. She finished behind Zarinska, who, if runs well in the Matreon, definitely this one should shorten, because she finished second, only beaten a length and a quarter with a Lee roller that day. She was held up, came with a run, and I just thought that she'd come on from the run. She finished only less than 3 lengths behind Tanera then in the 1,000 guineas, and was a length in behind Zarinska in the Minstrel Stakes, which is a Group 2. She was beaten third that day, but she's only beaten a length. The last run now was probably her letdown. She was beaten 7.5 lengths by Clever and Cool, Jim Bulger's runner, but that went on and won in Tipperary since as well. That was probably where she was probably her poorest run of the season, but Jim Bulger's runners on a go on day can be very, very good. And just that day, I just thought that maybe she just didn't perform to herself. So she comes back to them other couple of runs. I think she's a right chance here, 16-1 in the Dullingham Stakes. Then we're going to go to the 4:30. If I can get it up here, this is a Group 3. It's a mile and a half Group 3, 7 runners declared here. It's a race I have zero opinion in. I think Adelaide River, they all have to beat 6-4, nothing to write home about. But I just think there's a question mark over a lot of these. And yeah, I'm willing to leave this one go. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets turned over. Then we're going to go to the first handicap of the weekend. It's a mile and a half. The Irish Talent Farms EBF Pertangano handicap. 150 grand here for a handicap. 16 runners declared. Yeah, the interesting runner is, suppose, Comfort Zone for Joseph O'Brien. Returns to the flat. Haven't seen him since he won the Triumph Trial back in January in Cheltenham. It's a long time off the track, even over hurdles. But I just think Joseph's other runner, Universet, changed hands there. He used to run the double green of Isaac Suede. He dropped down a good bit in ratings for me. He was a horse offensive when he went over hurdles, but he just dropped down and he's flat, if you ask me. And I just think he got, what did he get for winning the last day? I think he only got, he got £3 only for winning the last day. He won by half a length over the course and distance. And for me, I just think he could back him up here. Mikey Sheedy keeps the ride. I'm very sweet in Mikey Sheedy as a rider. I think he's very underrated, but he's not underrated because Joseph uses him. So for me, Norset here in the mile and a half handicap. Then we're going to go to the finale of day one. It is the Irish Talents EBF Sovereign Pat handicap. 18 runners, 7 furlongs. I have two polar opposites here. Of course, we're going to have to stick with Dunham, who duly obliged for us in Galway when we tipped Natalie Lupini's runner-up. Billy Lee took the ride that day. Won very, very well for us. We were on a sevens. So for me, a 13-2, cracking bet each way here. I just think gives his all the whole time, this Iverwood. And I just think a 13-2 could be the one there each way. Definitely each way should fill the top 4 or 5. You'll probably get 5 places anyway. And then one at a massive price here each way. Ice Cold and Alex. Dropped down considerably in the handicap. An old buy, but runs very, very well at the track. In off 8-7. But young Wayne Hassett, who's probably one of the top £7 claimers around in the country at the minute. Takes 7 off, brings him into 8 stone. He's rated 75. He's 7 pound off his highest winning mark, and he's won off of 82, 78, and 76. And Wayne's £7 claim brings him 7 even further down in the handicap. I just think draw 6. Yeah, I just think that this lad at 50-1 is way overpriced, especially if you're going to get 5 places. But for me, our main selection in the race is going to be Dunham. And our big each way fancy of the day is Ice Cold and Annex. Look, that's going to be our preview for day one. We're going to come back and review tomorrow's action tomorrow after racing, and we're going to preview the Curragh, including the St. Ledger.